Good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you this morning. I want to acknowledge former Commissioner Glenn Bowen is with us. Glenn, always good to have you, and you're smiling, and so I know you've got some good news for us. In addition to that, let's have our roll call, please. All right. We will now have our invocation and pledge. Let's stand, please.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you this morning for your many blessings upon us. We thank you for the opportunity of assembling together this morning as a group of citizens representing Pitt County. We thank you for the wonderful county that we have, and we pray that you might be with each one of our citizens. Guide and direct us this morning as we deliberate the issues. Father, help us to make those decisions that are best for the people that we represent. These blessings we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Move that agenda be.
Second. All right, let's vote. Okay, Mr. Manager, do you have any public address to the board?
Yes, sir. We have two people signed up on the list. We have Jeff Daigle first, so if he'll come forward to the podium and give us his address.
Come around, Jeff.
And if Mr. Hammond will approve the agenda.
If the county attorney also would, if you could review the guidelines for.
Dave.
Agenda.
Punch in, Dave. Dr. Johnson needs to,
And I'll get his receipt.
oh, okay, very good.
And I'll keep your time at 3 minutes per public address to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Jeff Daigle, I reside at 112 Greenwood Drive in the Club Pines neighborhood. Something that all of us know very well is that friendships matter. Deep friendships matter tremendously to the value of our lives. When our friends rejoice, we rejoice. When our friends go through hardships, we go through hardships with them. Because friendships are the fabric of a big part of who we are as a people. I'm here today because of a friend, Dr. Rizzuti, regarding the Parker's Landing lease buyout program from your July 11th meeting. Friendships matter, and he is a friend of mine. I feel compelled to speak. And so, with that in mind, at the same time, Commissioner James, no one criticizes you for your deep friendship with the Parker family. It is evident you have a long-standing history with them. It is evident that you have a tremendous, meaningful, significant value in the friendship that you have with the Parker family. Because we, and as commissioners, as friends, we want what's best for our friends. We want what's best for those who are close to us. And so I understand that. I have friends that I feel the same way towards. But it is that very bias, that natural bent towards wanting to preserve and protect what is in the best interest of those closest to us, that as elected officials, we must guard against. That as government officials elected by the people, it's not about advancing the private interests of those closest to us. It is about protecting and guarding and serving the people who have elected you to office. Again, no one questions that the relationship with the Parker family is very meaningful to you, and I respect that tremendously. But I'm curious as to when the application between Billy Parker and Dr. Rizzuti was brought to the County Manager Scott Elliott's office, and Dr. Rizzuti stood there. Billy Parker, as I understand it, was not present, and instead, you represented him on his behalf. And so my curiosity is, were you there as a friend, or were you there representing your constituent? And if as a constituent, then I would see that wouldn't you also want to represent Dr. Rizzuti, Bill McDonald, Tom Glennon, also as adjacent land property owners who are also your constituents in your district? But if as a friend, then I understand, because you want what's best for your friend, and you want to do what you can. However, that policy that you claimed in the last meeting, that sometimes policies require exceptions, but is that very policy that you adhered to, and that Billy Parker adhered to, all the way up to the point until where it became no longer in his favor and no longer to his benefit, that suddenly there was an exception needed to that policy. No one disputes the historical value and significance of that property to the Parker family. However, keep in mind, commissioners, that they had several 100,000 good reasons to sell that piece of history. So For commissioners, you are all charged with the responsibility to inspire public confidence and trust in county government. My simple request is this, that those of you who voted in favor of the substitute plan brought forth by Commissioner James last period be brought back to the table for more discussion to enact what is a fair and just system.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, what's next, Mr. Manager?
Next, we have Brenda Harris.
I'm Brenda Harris, and I represent the people of Pitt County. I want you to know that I paid my taxes, me and Walter. I want you to know, and you know what? If I had the deferments of Chairman Owens and Chairman Smith and Chairman James, I wouldn't have as much taxes. How about that? But what I came to tell you today is this. Under the Machinery Act, it is equal and equitable. I stand before you telling you that you need to help your sheriff's department. I understand there was 80 folks that were sleeping on the floor in a county that has a gang war. You need to bring him to the table and support him, because those 96 beds are needed, and I'm gonna get beside him and make sure the county people get beside him too. Got it? If we're gonna be in the game and there's gonna be skin in the game, that means we've got something at risk. Then we step to the plate with integrity, and we also step with facts. So this is what I want to ask you today. There is a mandate that's going out that's to the tax collector of Pitt County, and it gives her the authority to collect taxes, and it's usually done in June or July. In 09, it says, according to state law. That's incorrect. And then in 010, it says, according to with law. That's incorrect. What we need to put in 2011 is according to state and federal law, and you need to put federal first. Because without the Constitution, and I pledge the allegiance, there is no America, and there is no North Carolina, and there is no Pitt County. Because what your mandate is, before God and before the people you represent. You know, I get stopped every day. They tell me, they said, you know, those commissioners don't like you, and I said, that's true. But I'm on record, and when the lawsuit comes, I've stepped to the plate as a citizen, and I've said, help your people, help your district, help those that are being foreclosed on. I can take you to my corner, and I'm asking for that meeting, Commissioner Owens. I'm asking that my representatives, Commissioner Webb for the corner, Commissioner McLaughlin floating, and Commissioner James, answer why the man in front of me paid $13 a year on that corner, and I pay almost $8,000. And it's the same zoning and the same cut over woods land. But it's called deferments, and that's why I know, because I pulled your records. I not only pulled them, but I'm pulling every deferment, because it looks like we give out candy to who we want to as a staff, because we have little to no leadership in our tax department. When I told you it was incompetence, I didn't tell you to be ugly. I told you to be honest. When I tell you that I have a piece of ground at my farm, the value is $3,300 an acre. My neighbor is $1,600 before he gets deferments. Afterwards, he pays about $825. So what I'm saying to you today is on this mandate that gives our tax collector authority, do it correctly. It should say federal and state, and you have 2 attorneys that can verify that. We'll see you at the 22nd meeting. You need to look over your schedule of values well, because we are.
Thank you, ma'am. What's next, Mr. Manager?
Yeah, so we have signed up on public addresses. Next, we have items to report. First report is my report as manager. Item A is our next meeting dates, August 22nd, 6 p.m. here in the Commissioners' meeting room. Then we move to September 12th at 9 a.m. on the same location. Item B, wanted to announce that Pitt County government has acquired the probation and parole building on Pitt Street. This is the building that we've been leasing, as we were required by the General Assembly about 2 years ago to pick up this lease. We've decided to acquire this building and to rather be an owner of the building rather than a leasee of the property. So that did close on July the 19th. Item C is the NACO, which is the National Association of Counties annual conference report. This was held July 15th through 19th. This was in Multnomah County, Oregon. Myself and Commissioner McLaughlin attended the national conference. As usual, the conference was very beneficial through the workshops and general sessions that were provided. There was a plethora of workshops of which you could choose between 4 or 5 different workshops that were going on at the same time. I know myself and Mr. McLaughlin kind of separated up and went different directions so we could hit the most we could. Some of the things that I felt would be a benefit to Pitt County government was one called County Saving Money in the Cloud. The cloud is a reference to the information technology application of software and applications for local government as well as private business. Another was called the quote-unquote new normal in county staffing, dealing with the current economic realities of our economic environment in terms of how we've had to cut and constrain our budgets. And another one was addressing the crisis of suicide in our counties. Learned a lot about how counties across the country are dealing with the suicide crisis and what can be done, measures to prevent that. Also at the meeting, we had a North Carolina caucus. The North Carolina Association of County Commissioners held a caucus business meeting of which business for North Carolina was conducted. That's kind of my highlight. If Mr. McLaughlin has...
In addition to what Scott has said, I really thought it was a very, very good meeting. I think Pitt County stands very fortunate among other counties as far as monies to appropriate for our various needs and services. It's pitiful to see around the nation that there are many counties who are suffering from even things such as protection, safety, social services programs. We are blessed here in Pitt County, and I think it's fortunate because of how we as county commissioners has positioned ourselves to conduct the business of the county. One of the things that was very pleasing to me was the Larry Nake, the executive director of the National Association of County, recognized Pitt County in terms of talking about being involved in the CGI communication network, and that provides services at no cost to the county, Pitt County. It's a multimedia video that's produced and highlights things as economic development opportunities, real estate and relocation services, area recreation activities, history and culture of your area, and health care option. And this costs no money. And Kiara, our information director, she's going to be highlighting that, and we're going to be meeting with a representative from that organization here at this building Tuesday, August the 9th, which is next Tuesday at 10 a.m., and they're going to be talking to us further about how we can save money, not spending money for the county, and having a array of advertisement that would enhance this county, and not only this county, but the city of Green. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. James, I believe you wanted to respond.
Yes, I do. I want a better explanation of B from the manager pertaining to that building, what it costs, and because I thought we did, I'm not criticizing us at all or you, but I think the public needs to know that it was a good thing for Pitt County.
Sure. We acquired that building at the cost of $430,000, which was less than what the authority I was given. So we're actually able to negotiate a cost less than that, and feel like it's a win-win for the county, because eventually we will own the site and we won't be paying someone else for the lease payments on it. The amount in lease payments that we were paying, about $90,000, is about equivalent to what we'll be paying on debt service over 10 years. So after a 10-year period, we will own the building free and clear, and we'll have this responsibility from here on out, unless probation and parole is restructured and somehow on the state level this continues to be a responsibility, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, and it's something that we got to have.
Yes, sir.
We would have to have it or build one. And anything you can invest and pay it that soon, I think you made a good investment.
This is another one of those unfunded mandates by the General Assembly, the North Carolina General Assembly, saying thou shall provide and pay for. So we decided to do it the most economical way that would
Yes,
benefit the county
I
government.
wanted the public to know that.
Mr. Manager, continue.
Okay, item D on the list, update regarding fire service district project. As the board is aware, our last meeting, staff presented information about the fire service districts. We were we're scheduled to come back on this meeting for August 1st with a preliminary report and data. We're going to delay that by one meeting. We do have all the information ready, but it just wasn't, everything hadn't been cleared for this agenda. We are moving forward very well on the project. As you recall, the timeline we set out before you had the project starting here in the new fiscal year and pretty much ending by the end of the calendar year, giving us then from January through June, then for you to decide how it was going to be rolled into budget. So we're, calendar-wise, we're still fine on this, and it's progressing very well, and we'll report back on August the 22nd. Item E, Health Department's Diabetes Self-Management Program has received an award. They are the recipient of the 2011 ADA, the American Diabetes Association's Provider of the Year Award. We just want to congratulate them, and I believe Dr. Morrow will be in, he's not here now, he'll be in the audience later this morning as well. And the last thing I have that's not on the agenda, just wanted to remind the board that the Pitt County Board of Education will be utilizing the Commissioner's Boardroom tonight for the first time, accessing the live TV. You probably saw that in the paper today in the front page, and that our staff will be assisting their public information staff to make that come about. So we're proud to allow them to host them in your room and to give them a higher quality venue to both in the seating room of the room as well as the quality of the broadcast that will result from that.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Michelle?
Good morning. Just briefly, I want to update you on all the good news coming out of the Pitt County Animal Shelter. As you are already aware, we were 7th in the nation in a 2-week online voting challenge from the ASPCA that got us into the ASPCA $100,000 challenge. It starts today, and it continues for the next 3 months. They sent us these cute little orange buttons that tell everybody that we're a contestant, and I brought some extras if any of y'all would like to wear one and promote us, but I just wanted to give you an update of what we are planning. This Wednesday at 5:30 in the morning, I will be going to WITN. They are giving us a spot to talk about the shelter and what we have going on in the challenge and what we have coming up this Saturday. This Saturday, during our shelter hours from 11 to 4, we're going to do an Empty the Shelter challenge. We are going to try to empty as many runs as we can with adoptions to new families. We're hoping it's going to be a fun-filled event. Also, our local Humane Society has stepped up and said however many adoptions we do on Saturday, they are committing to pulling that same number of animals from our shelter into their facility. So we're hoping for big numbers to kick off this challenge in a big way to put Pitt County Animal Shelter on the map nationwide as we did in the 2-week voting challenge. So we have that going up. We have flyers. We have material that we're advertising that with. We did receive, we've been blessed to receive donations from the community, and with that, we're able to partner with our local movie theater to start running a PSA about our shelter. It'll start August 12th, so I'm really excited, already picking out my movie to go see so I can see our commercial on the big screen. Also, ECU is going to run ours prior to their movies at Hendricks Theater. We're partnering again with Krispy Kreme, University Book Exchange, the local vets offices and animal-related businesses, as well as Ross Orthodontics has chosen to highlight and decorate their entire office with Pitt County Animal Shelter decorations and so forth. They're helping us. Nice Personnel, it was in the paper this morning. They did a Stop the Shelter, and we had a picture in the work week section. They've also been a very great partner, hoping to bring new businesses on board and continue. There's lots of ways we can win money other than the 100,000 challenge, and one of them is community engagement grant. And I know that we have a wonderful community that stands behind and rallies around a bunch of different causes, so we're very blessed in Pitt County. And I want to show again the nation that we do have a community that supports and promotes, and I'm gunning for that. We can also win different amounts and awards for different things, such as turning in our numbers of how many people come to our website and things like that. So we're going to go for every amount of money out there that we possibly can and hopefully win some. Our PIO office has been, a public information office, has been amazing in creating videos and literature and helping us spread our message. We're going to hopefully do radio shows and more TV spots to get our words out. and we're hoping to have other events, at least one each month, maybe a picnic in the park across the street from us. And we have the 5K for Canines program that did complete their first 5K race, and it was really well. 4 dogs only did a mile, but the other 9 did the whole 3 miles, and people were very excited, and we got a lot of great support. And so far, 6 of those dogs have already been adopted after that first race. So we're excited about that new program. We will have a fall rabies clinic. All of you have a sticker. Please put them on your vehicles if you can, or your wife's vehicle, and help us get our word out. We think they look really sharp, and we hope they will get noticed. I told you about the Saturday event, and then we made these posters. We wanted to have a visual so the public can keep track of where we are in the challenge. ASPCA has set our goal for 594 lives saved in the next 3 months. It's a lofty goal, but we're going to do it. We're going to give it our best, and so we created this visual. And we want to fill our house up, and that way the public can see exactly where we're at, starting with 50 going on up to 600. So we have these strategically placed around the county, have one at the animal shelter, and I'm going to have a good time filling this house up and coloring up. So I hope you have seen our works. If you can come out to the animal shelter, we'd always love to have you. And if anybody has any questions or ideas, just feel free to give me a holler.
Thank you, Michelle. Beth?
Michelle,
Yes, ma'am.
just quickly, I thank you for all of this as far as this community is concerned. And I have no doubt if there's any way possible to reach that goal that you and the people that work with you and volunteer with you are going to. But I understand all the things that you're doing and the shelter is doing. But as citizens, I know Adopt is one as far as reaching the goal for the 100,000, the qualifications, and the number of people that go to the website, Pitt County website. Are there any other things that the citizens can just simply do?
Well, we will take of course, adoptions is forefront. We will take their time, their talent, their energy, any way, little or small, that they can help. We will glad to utilize them. Different ways we can win is to track our volunteer numbers, which we already do, donations that come in, our website traffic, how many friends we have on our Facebook page. There's lots of little ways, and just by clicking the like button on the official Pitt County Animal Shelter Facebook page is a way that will help get our numbers up. So there are a lot of little ways, depending on how much time you have.
Okay.
I welcome the phone calls, the emails, the visits to the shelter. They might have an idea that I've not thought of on how to promote. Education is still a top priority for the animal shelter, just getting the word out, educating our citizens on why we have so many animals coming in. Every little bit they do will help us meet our
But
goal.
the number of additional volunteers, the amount of donations that come in the next few months, and clicking on the website and Facebook and that sort of thing.
Yes, there are
Okay.
tons of ways
Good.
for us to have a chance at winning. We'll take any type of monies that we can win to put back into the shelter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle. Before we go to our next item, I want to take a moment of public information. Mr. Dick Tomey of this community for many years passed this week. Among many of the things that he did as a citizen of this county, I think he'd probably say that the one that enticed him the most and that he contributed the most, and I'm sure that the children of this county are aware of that, is the time and effort that Dick gave to the Board of Education. And in honor of him, let's bow for a moment, please. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After last meeting in July, planning staff and legal staff have moved forward with distributing and seeking public comment for Plan 1B for your voter redistricting effort. Just last week, our first meeting was held down in Winterville at the town hall. Had a number of folks to come through, somewhat an informal setting where we actually let people come in, view the maps, pick up handouts, and ask any questions of staff. and then have a brief staff presentation about midway through. So that's the same format that we're going to continue on starting tomorrow night back here in this auditorium. That's Tuesday, August the 2nd. Then we're back on the road again later this week, Thursday, August the 4th at North Pitt. The following week in Farmville, Monday, August the 8th at the Town Hall, and then at Aidan Griffin High School on Tuesday, August the 9th. And again, people can come out as often and as many times as they'd like, provide comments in written form, or they can also go to our website. The website has the maps, it has comment forms, it has a lot of other information that the folks can review, even associated with Census 2010 as to how we got to this process. Also on Opus, our MIS staff has assisted in making sure that map is available on there. Most people are familiar with that mapping system, and now there's a layer on there that allows you to pull up Plan 1B and see exactly how that might affect you if that plan is put into place for next voting season. Just briefly over the timeline, again, the managers mentioned the Board of Education is meeting in this auditorium tonight. Janice and I will be here to present the full presentation about the redistricting plan at that meeting. A little bit later in the summer, and we're now tentatively have this scheduled for your August 22nd meeting, bringing the plan back to you after a full month out for review, bringing those comments back to you, and possibly looking at adopting a resolution in favor of that proposal. Onward from that, the proposal and complete package would be forwarded to the Department of Justice for review, and typically that's about a 2-month process. And then looking for approval in early winter, and again, filing date begins February 13th of next year. Elections in May. So again, on the screen is information about how to access this information on the website. And again, a number of these meetings are coming up, and they're also listed on the website. And alternatively, people can also contact the planning department if they have any questions.
Thank you, James.
Mr. Chairman, can you
Beth.
tell the time again, like when you start and then what time the presentation will be?
Right, all the meetings begin at 5 o'clock.
Put it back on there, James, can't you?
All the meetings begin at 5 o'clock and run till 7. We have a brief staff presentation at 6. And again, these are the meeting places. Each one of those would begin at 5 o'clock and run till about 7 or until the citizens leave.
Mr. Garris.
Thank you.
James, when you come back to us with the plan for our approval, will it be a modified plan based upon the input that you've got from these listening sessions, or will it be the Plan 1B that we saw before?
My thinking right now, it will be the existing plan with the comments attached, and then we'll have a recommendation whether there might need to be any changes. But currently, I would say Plan 1B comes back to you with a possibility of some modifications.
And those modifications would be based upon the input you've received.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Melvin.
How has you had one meeting, James, and how was the input factor there?
I think overall, very good. In fact, we got a lot of input, and that's what we're out there for. Not surprisingly, in the Winterville community, folks are a little concerned, as they were in 2000, that the community has been split into different districts. Previously, Winterville was split into 2 voting districts. Now we're looking at splitting it into 3. So that was the major concern, and I have a feeling as we move around to different parts of the county, we'll hear specific comments relative to that part of the county.
Any other questions? If not, we thank you, James.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move for acceptance for the items for consent.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, let's vote. All right, next order of business.
Okay, next on items for decision, number 1 is to select a voting delegate for the NCACC, which is the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Conference, and that is on page 9 of the agenda package. That is the conference coming up in Cabarrus County from August 18th to the 21st. And this will be a voting delegate for the business session to elect the officers and conduct any other business of the State Association.
I'd like to move that we ask Dr. Tom Johnson if he would be willing to be our voting delegate.
If there's no other nominations, let's vote. Mr. James? All right. Next.
Okay, next you have item 2 is the schedule of values for the 2012 reevaluation. We have our tax administrator, Kathy Booker here, as well as our reevaluation director, Harding Suggs.
Good morning.
Morning.
Per North Carolina General Statute 105-317C, the 2012 Schedule of Values Manual is submitted, and the statutory required steps to adopt the 2012 Schedule of Values was attached to your information. And there's a copy now with Kimberly for the county manager's office, and we also have a copy in the tax office for public review. What we're here today is to ask you to approve the hearing date of August the 22nd, 2011, and publish the hearing date in the newspaper on August the 6th, 2011.
So moved.
Second it.
All right, any discussion? Not, let's vote. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
James Rhodes on 2 resolutions.
Good morning again. I just wanted to give you an update first on the replacement home in Winterville. You may recall that this was a house that was being built for Ms. Beatrice House on the same lot in which she now resides. We had a number of partners involved, including the town of Winterville, Grifton Mission Ministries, College Park Baptist Church, and also USDA Rural Development. And I'm pleased to announce, as of today, we're moving Ms. House into her new home. The existing home has not been demolished yet, but I did want to take you through kind of the process we've been through. The existing house probably is coming down in the next week or two. This started in earnest really on July the 3rd, even though we didn't complete it with College Park being here that first week. Again, very oppressive heat. A lot of work went into the house. As you can see, this is kind of what they started with on July the 3rd. And by the end of the week, the walls went up, roof was on, shingles on, and after they left, a lot of the interior work was completed. You can see the cabinets are in, the flooring has been finished. Superb job. You wouldn't believe the workmanship that these volunteers put into this job. Completely handicap accessible. You can notice the shower here that someone elderly, such as Ms. House, again, very accessible getting in and out of the shower. This is a look at the house itself. Again, a little bit low lying on that particular lot. A lot of dirt has been brought in to make sure we have some positive drainage there. You can just barely see in the left corner, the existing house is still there and probably should be taken down in the next week or so. This is Ms. House, and also a representative from USDA. And as I mentioned, USDA is putting on a dedication event on August the 15th. Pleased that Ms. Ward will be involved with that and making a presentation that day to Ms. House. We have Aaron Gaskins on the right, and again, without all these partners, this would not have been possible. USDA provided some funding for this house as well. These are 2 gentlemen that were instrumental. On the right is Billy Tarleton. He's been with the county for a number of years and working with us through our community development process. He's been here since the flood, and as you'll see in the resolution, the language that's in there, well over 100 families here in the community have received benefits from having Grifton Ministries here in the county. The gentleman on the left is Mr. Roger Jones. He's with College Park Baptist Church out of Winston-Salem. Again, this is the first year they've been to Pitt County and built a replacement home such as this. They've been taking their talents out to Kentucky for many years, so we're wanting to make sure and ensure that this is a long-running partnership, and we want them back next summer. So with that, we have 2 resolutions that have been drafted and want to have those presented at the August 15th dedication event, and those are before you today, Mr. Chairman.
You know, we never can say enough or say thank you enough for the people, as we've seen here, that contribute, and for those that contribute by whatever source or means it might be. But I think we need to really reaffirm every time we have an opportunity, the good work and the efforts that these people put on. Now, what's the pleasure as
Is there a
to the two
motion to adopt the
resolutions?
resolution?
Second.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Morrow, I believe you're next.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, sir.
The Communities Putting Prevention to Work grant, I believe I came and talked to you all about that several months ago, and one of the big questions was, well, how are we going to spend all that money? And at that time, I was unable to answer that question. So a lot has happened since then, and we are beginning to spend that money. It's $1.6 million, just to remind everyone. This is part of the Affordable Care Act. It's federal funding that North Carolina received. We were very fortunate to be one of the 2 health departments in the state that received $1.6 million for Communities Putting Prevention to Work, which is really an initiative to increase access to fresh fruits and vegetables and to address physical activity. Both of these working on the obesity epidemic that we've all heard so much about in the last few years. So we come today to request use of $255,000 for the media portion of the CPPW, or Communities Putting Prevention to Work grant. This money is contracted with a company called Woodbine. This is a company that the state, to explain this a little bit, the state received the federal grant. They decided which counties in the state would work with them. So we are one of the partners. The other partner is Appalachian District Health Department up in Watauga, Allegheny, and Ashe counties. That's a district health department. And the state had worked with Woodbine before for media campaigns with public health issues. And so instead of allocating separate funds to Appalachian District and then Pitt and have us each develop separate media campaigns, they've asked that we put our efforts together. They're, I said they've worked with this company before. Woodbine would develop these media campaigns, but then the funding would eventually end up back here locally in terms of the media markets that we have here in Pitt County for that portion of that funding.
Do we
Does
have a
that make
motion to
sense?
approve this
Let
contract?
me ask, I want to ask a question.
Let's have a motion if we got one and then
Okay,
discuss it, Gene. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
I want to, before I motion for that, Mr. Chairman, I want to ask him a question, then we may go into a motion.
Appreciate that, Melvin. Go ahead.
Yeah, we just discussed prior to your coming here, Dr. Morrow, an initiative that was balanced out during the NACO conference in Portland, Oregon. Now, this is a multimedia video program that is free of charge, and it would promote health care options as one of the promotion. Now, my question, I guess, to you before, I don't have a problem with approving it, but, you know, if we can use this money some other area, if this can be accomplished through what we have here as a free service, then I think that it would be, you know, unwise to do that. We could use that money in some other area. That's the only point I'm trying to make. So that's going to take place Tuesday, August the 9th. My suggestion, if I can just suggest, my suggestion would be that we table this until we find out exactly what's going to take place at our meeting on August the 9th in terms of what this media promotion is going to do. It may even answer your questions as far as developing all of that you're talking about doing, and you're paying this kind of money, and then you can use this money in some other areas. That's where I'm coming from with it.
Thank you, Mel. What's the pleasure of the board?
Let me say, I want to say this. Mine was on the same line of his. $255,000, that's a big chunk of it. That's a lot of money for advertisement. And I think we need to kind of look at some other ways to do something. To spend that kind of money just to advertise something. I don't know what's going to be. Maybe we'll find out. But I'm ready to vote.
Well-
Dr. Moore, you want to respond to that?
I would. I think we have to look at this not just as advertising, but really education. And so what they're planning is television, magazines, newspapers, all the media outlets that you would normally think of. There are some, the CDC is in charge of this, Communities Putting Prevention to Work. And when I came to y'all a few months ago, I explained to y'all that we had to go through channels to get things done to really have approval for to spend any of this money. There's a lot of discrepancy and discussion about how these dollars are spent. As you can imagine, the Affordable Care Act is still under discussion in Washington, and you know how things are in Washington are right now. So it's been a trial for us to get funding spent. We've spent right now out of the $1.6 million. We've spent about $105,000. We have another. Well, if this $255,000 is approved today, that would take us up to, in contract, about $730,000 of the $1.6 million. So we're not doing bad. We have until September, the end of September next year, to spend the $1.6 million. And as I told y'all, we need to spend it. But I'm a taxpayer too, and I want it spent wisely. So we don't want to waste any of this money. Some of the things we've had to do that the CDC has required us to do, like, send people to Atlanta for training, we just didn't have any choice in those things. So, and this is one of those things that the state pretty much has said, this is how it's going to happen. We can fight it, but if we do that, we're going to have to develop our own media plan. We probably will not see that money at all. It'll be shifted maybe to Appalachian Regional District. I'm not sure. So my thought is that this at least will, I think, most of this money, I know some of it is going to go for the development of the campaign, if you will, but most of it, I think, will come right back into Pitt County because we have the media markets for this area. So the television markets, the newspaper markets, the magazines, all of that, they're going to spend that money back in this area on these media areas to educate people about these things.
Mr. Smith,
Yes, sir.
it sounds like the media got so many stipulations here on this money. Sometimes they don't even pay you to take it. So let them.
Well, so far it's
Shut
paying
it.
us. So far it's
I'm
worth it.
concerned if they're not going to, don't just blow it. It's
Well-
still our money, and the taxpayers have got to pay it.
Commissioner James, we're putting local people to work with this funding. So we're paying people salaries with this money that's coming in.
Well, what
We're
are they
building
doing?
projects. For instance, with agricultural extension, Joni Torres, who's doing our community garden projects, we're paying her some salary to do those things, to develop community gardens. We've got folks working with the schools. We've got, I think, $70-something thousand coming to James to help with the planning. We're doing the crosswalk out at the County Home Road to connect the community garden and the school and the park and the Village of Yesteryear, to bring those things together. We're doing walking trails at schools is what we have planned. So we're trying to invest the money wisely. We don't want to waste any money. But we've got a huge problem with obesity epidemic in this area of the country. And what we found out is that you can't cure this problem by just one person at a time. You've got to change the environment, and that's why this is really focused on policies and environments and changing those environments. And we've got to work with a lot of partners to get that accomplished. So public schools, we're working with the hospital, we're working with physicians, we're working with the community college, we're working with Ag Extension, we're working with the planners and all the municipalities that we can get. So it's very complicated. Overall, I think it's going to be good. Will it take care of all the problems by September of next year? No, I don't think so. But we're taking a good step, and I think it's a good investment.
Mr. Garris, then Melvin, then Beth.
Well, my comment was similar to some of the comments that's already been made. This $255,000 is restricted for advertising only, right?
Yes, sir.
And to me, I agree, the walking trails and all that is very, very important, and I would love to see $255,000 spent on walking trails rather than advertising, because to me, the advertising piece of healthy eating and physical activity, we all know that. We know we're supposed to eat more healthy, more fruits and vegetables, and we know we're supposed to exercise. So I don't see a need for spending $255,000 to tell us that same thing over again. But again, that's what we have to spend this money for if we accept it, right?
Yes, sir.
Well,
I believe that's correct.
that was my concern,
Yeah.
Dr. Mark. It's no other way you can spend this money if we have this media outlet already answered your question in terms of what. So it's strictly for that, as Commissioner Garrison.
That's our understanding from the state, and I'll clarify that with the staff who works directly with this grant, Joe Morgan and Gene Wilkerson. But they're probably going to take this money back if we don't.
If we don't spend on advertisement.
Yes, sir.
No, I mean, I don't want to lose the money. I mean, if you're going to take it back, I certainly want you to spend it. I mean, you know, we got the money, you use it, but don't give nothing back. I mean,
Yeah, and again, I would say this is education. It's, you know, some people say it's advertising, but it's really education. And Joe can tell you, she's a health educator for a long time now. Just when everybody is sick of hearing that message, and you're sick of saying it, that's just when some people are starting to hear it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a lot of money, I understand that. Would we do it different? If we had a better choice, we probably would. But we're trying to be good partners in this grant. The state's got some red tape they're dealing with also, and the CDC, of course, also has the federal red tape they're dealing with, and so some of their hands are tied in some of these issues too. So,
Chairman, in view of what I'm hearing, motion to approve.
I think, let's, since we're discussing, let's discuss now. I believe Beth's next, then Glenn, and then Ephraim.
I just want to say that as an educator, I'm glad that we don't just teach reading in first grade and quit and assume that everybody learns to read. And I know that we can't teach people to eat correctly and to exercise and to take care of their bodies and their health in one session anywhere. I totally agree that, you know, the things we have done with some of this money in the past are things we can see, and that makes it a little bit easier, you know, to understand. So calling this advertising, I think is probably the wrong thing that we need, and we put the word media in there, and I know we have to do that. But thank you for making it clear to us that this is the only direction this money can go in. But you named a lot of things besides just television and that sort of thing. And it is education. It's educating our citizens over and over and over again. And we never know when that one person who's been hearing the same message for years is going to tune in and accept it as education for themselves. I know just this morning, I heard that McDonald's is changing their kids' meals. I'm not advertising for McDonald's. And they're reducing the number of fries in their kids, all their kids' meals, and including sliced apples in all of their kids' meals. So I'll guarantee you some kids heard that today. And they'll be still ordering that kids' meals, but it'll be more healthy. And I think that's what'll come of this. So I'll second his motion, but I know we've got two other people who have to speak. Thank you.
Glenn.
Morning, Dr. Morrow.
Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As to the money, in my experience with grants, it's got to be spent on what they tell you to spend it on, correct?
Yes, sir.
And turning that money in, could that not hurt us in the future for grants if we do want to spend that size of money on walking paths and things? If you're seen as not spending the money, can that hurt you in future grants if we don't act on what they've given us?
Well, I would have to say the reason we were selected for this grant by the state is because of our history of doing a good job with prior grants and being a good partner with the State Division of Public Health. So
That's the point I want to get at,
Yes, sir.
is reputation with the grant givers. Because if you're seen as biting the hand that feeds you or anything, whether we're right or wrong on it, as far as the amount of money goes, and the money is coming back to Pitt County in the form of media to advertise these types of things. And I think it's a good thing that we're promoting this. But I just want to clarify that the grants are usually very structured. If you don't use the money, they'll send it to someone else. And if they take the money from you, they may be less likely to give it to us in the future for things that personally we may see as more beneficial, like, because I'd like to see some more walking paths, as Mr. Garris pointed out, and some other ways to get out and exercise. So, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ephraim?
I was just gonna make the motion.
All right. Dave?
You didn't make application for this, you were chosen as one of the counties, is that right?
we let them know that we were interested. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else,
Well, it was
Dave?
2 counties out of the 100 that was chosen.
That's right. 2 health departments. There was actually 3
Right.
counties in the other district. But
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Johnson, you want to say anything?
No, thank you.
All right. Have we had a motion made,
Yes,
seconded? Who seconded the motion?
I did.
Yes.
You
Mr.
got-
Chairman, you actually have 2. Just to clarify, I had a motion by Beth Ward that was seconded by Mr. James to approve, and then we also had a motion by Melvin McLaughlin, seconded by Beth Ward. The same motion. If you'd combine them into one,
Well,
there's,
since the first was not designated as a substitute, the first motion is what we'll vote on.
thank you.
All right, you ready to vote? Eugene?
Okay, but
Thank you, Dr. Marr.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. All right, do we have a motion on the crime prevention?
So moved.
Second it.
Is there any discussion? Not, let's vote. All right, the next order of business, Mr. Elliott.
Okay, you have reappointments to the Committee for Employment of People with Disabilities. You have a list of names. Basically, this is a reappointment of the existing committee members.
Motion to approve.
Second it.
You need to finish voting on the first one.
Who you got?
Jimmy.
There we go. All right. Now, Mr. Garris, restate your motion.
Motion to approve the one for committee for employment with people with disabilities.
Second it.
All right, any discussion on that?
Mr. Chairman, there's 2 exceptions on there. You have 2 members who have exceeded the number of terms. Just wanted to note that as part of your voting process.
Ready to vote? Okay, thank you. Now, I believe we've had a request for a closed session.
Yes, it's been suggested that this board go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to preserve the attorney-client privilege, in particular to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve that privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. All right, let's vote.
oh, yeah.
Okay. If y'all excuse us, we'll be back as soon as we conclude this closed session.